Welcome to the Truth for Your 20s podcast. My name is Katie. I'm a proud girl mom. I've been married 20 years and counting. I'm a keynote speaker to sororities nationwide and a passion to be who I needed when I was younger.
And I'm Shayna Webb, proud big sister of 5 girls, Chattanooga content creator, high school coach, and your resident 20-something co-host who definitely doesn't have it all figured out yet, but loves talking about it anyway.
And together, we are here to bring a little truth, encouragement, real stories, and laughter to your 20s.
Woo! And we're back. Welcome back. Gosh, I already messed up the intro. It's my first time doing the intro, and I already messed it up.
Go for you. Go for it.
We're back. This is the Truth for Your 20s podcast, and I'm Shayna.
And I'm Katie.
And today's a really good one because it's something that I definitely struggle with as someone in her 20s, but I know all of us do. And it's, what should I say?
Yeah.
And that applies to so many things.
Yes, I'm so excited about this. This was kind of the inspo because my daughter, I feel like I started kind of laughing because so often, almost daily, what should I say? But when it comes to texting back the girl that she's supposed to babysit for, or telling a friend, making plans, what should I say? What should I say? I'm like, just,
Yeah.
So,
And it plays into things like job interviews, relationships, friend issues, or even just like friend things when you're trying to make friends. Like there's so many times where you're like, what should I say? And also, like, I feel like so many people will literally ask like ChatGPT, like, what should I say?
yeah, which is
like,
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we struggle.
Yeah. We just struggle with it.
Yeah. So we asked our community, like, what do you struggle with? And where do you have areas you want more wording? See, I can't.
Right.
What do I say?
Yeah. The biggest struggles people in their 20s have with communication, basically, and we have top 8 answers. But I think it's also just because our generation, Gen Z and early millennial and just people in their 20s who are 20 now, we're the first generation to like be raised online. And so there's a lot of just like, we just have grown up with that. And so it's like new. Anyway, the top 8, the first one was just overthinking every word. It just like, if I say this, will they think I'm weird? Like you're overthinking like the littlest things.
Yeah. I think that comes into like what you're talking about, the keyboard warriors, and how it's much easier to behind the scenes be big and brave, or, be a lot of different things behind a screen and then not in real life. And so when it comes to communicating, you're like, wait, I don't know how to say this. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into any advice that we have, but also just going through it. But just giving you these like 8 things, see which ones you relate to. I relate to like all of these 8 things because the second one is fear of confrontation because we just don't want to upset people. And maybe it's because I'm an Enneagram 3. I'm just like avoiding hard conversations because I don't want to make people mad.
It's so real.
So
I think that a lot of people have that, especially women, which is a whole thing.
Yeah. And that goes right along with number 3, which was not wanting to disappoint people. But almost there, it's like you're saying yes to things that you don't even have time or energy for just because you don't want to disappoint someone.
Yeah.
That is like the story of my 24th and 25th year of life, I think, was just saying yes when I didn't really want to, but I didn't want to make people
And
mad.
then get overcommitted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So we're getting ahead. What was number 1? Did we already say it?
Oh, yeah. Just overthinking every word. I was just going to name all the 8.
Word.
And then so y'all can listen and be like, oh, yeah, I relate to that one. And then we're going to get into all of the things.
Do it.
Yeah. And so number 4 was imposter syndrome in job interviews. So we'll definitely talk about, going over job interviews and what to say. But it's because a lot of times we don't know how to advocate for ourselves, or you downplay your skills or accomplishments because you don't want to seem like you're bragging. So we're going to get into that. Number 5 was confusing honesty with harshness, because like sometimes, especially like as Christians, we like want to call people out, but you don't want to seem like you're mean.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Number 6 was reading tone into everything. That's why we send so many exclamation points, because we're like, I don't want people to think we're mad at them.
Wait, they said they can make it for lunch. Do they hate me?
No, literally. That's why we have so many emojis and exclamation points. And anytime someone sends me a text or an email with a period, I'm like, they're mad at me.
They spoke in all caps.
Thanks, period. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? So we'll get into that. And then number 7 was not knowing how to ask for what they need. That's like a huge
4 episodes right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. And number 8 is apologizing for everything.
I'm sorry.
That is so me. I I'm gonna be preaching to the choir here because I think I start every single email with "sorry."
My daughter's best friend, they, like, joke with her about that because they started saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," because she does for everything, like and so anyway, she started realizing it because they were kind of lovingly joking with her, starting every sentence with "I'm sorry," and she
Yeah.
started realizing, like, "Okay, maybe I don't need to do that."
Yeah. So I just think as a whole, our generation just has so much fear of rejection and disappointing people, and confrontation feels scary because we all want to be liked, and we're still figuring out who we are. So it's hard to communicate clearly.
So we're gonna have some words, language around it, and don't feel bad because language is learned. We hang out with my neighbor's sweet little baby sometimes. They have a house full of babies, and sometimes we just kinda help out, and anyway, so I was hanging out with a baby last night, and we were doing, like, and you could just see she was so interested because she wants to learn, she wants to speak, and that just simple, made me think of how we're all learning to communicate, and obviously we can say more than "buh" these days,
Yeah.
but how do we say the hard things? It's not like, something you necessarily learn, you just kinda have to well, you do learn it, but it's not like, "Oh, hey, how to say hard things 101 class."
Yeah.
It's just something you pick up as you go, so
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, especially growing up with like texting, I remember having to learn how to text. I remember like trying to say a joke over text like it was a joke. It did not come across as a joke. Like, it's just like you have to learn it. That was like back when I first got a phone, which was like in sixth grade when phones came out, pretty much. But it's like you have to learn how to text and then you have to learn how to like communicate these things. Like, we didn't grow up knowing boundaries right away, kind of thing.
yeah.
And we just have so many new environments when we're in our 20s, like jobs and relationships and commitments and roommates. So,
There's a lot. Okay, so let's get into it. The overthinking every word. I
mhm,
think you're so on point that the texting screen world has made this more
yeah.
complicated because one example I have is had a video, and this was like probably 2020, 2021, when TikTok was,
Yeah.
you could go viral for the craziest things, and I was talking about women who would change the world at all different ages, like from Mother
Mhm.
Teresa to Anne Frank. And Anne Frank got a lot of I got a lot of hate. People were cussing me out in other languages because she changed the world with tragic circumstances, but you could argue she changed the world. And so, oh my gosh, it was just like I was getting canceled on the internet in different languages because I was trying to say these women had done good things in the world. But the point being is, even with the best intentions, with this microscopic, everyone's eyeballs, everyone's opinions on one thing, you can certainly overthink. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I didn't mean to say that. Or, people can pick apart the littlest things on our online world for
Yeah.
sure.
How do you think we can stop overthinking? And there's probably no way to.
I mean, obviously, there's putting something on social media versus texting a friend are different
Mhm.
categories. And you have your safe areas. Like if I mess up saying something stupid to you, like I feel comfortable, like we're friends and stuff like that. And then there's people you're just meeting. So there's lots of different
Yeah.
caveats around all that.
Yeah, I think, and this is what I try to tell my girls that I coach is you're innocent until proven guilty. Like, even if some people are guilty, like, don't assume the worst in people. And when we overthink, we're all like, did she say that in a rude way? Like, you don't know. If you
Yeah.
don't know, then don't assume the worst.
Yeah.
Just try to assume the best and don't assume the worst until you find proof that like it was with bad intentions. Cause obviously there are some times where things are with bad intentions, but don't assume that until you have a reason to. Because I think a lot of like things are just interpreted the wrong way because we assume the worst rather than assuming the best. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they did that because they just didn't know or they want to be like it just there's so many different scenarios, but I think the biggest thing you can do is just assume the best until you have a reason to know that it was bad.
They say that's the number one thing that helps keep marriages alive too, assuming the best in each other.
Oh
So
yeah.
certainly the same with friendships or even just acquaintances, job friends, that's like a universal assuming the best in
Yeah.
people for sure.
That actually makes me think of the other night with my husband. I, like, was wanting to, like, hang out or cuddle or whatever, and he was just like, "I'm tired." And I literally said to him, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna overthink this and think that you're mad at me or whatever." He's like, "No, I'm just, like, actually tired. Like, obviously, I love you so much." Like, there was no reason that I needed to think anything wrong of it, but, like, we're married, so we can just, like,
Yeah.
obviously say that, but I'm thinking to when you're in your relationships and you aren't, like, 100% close yet and you hear something like, "Oh, I'm tired, like, I don't wanna hang out or cuddle or whatever," you're like But you just have to assume the best. Like,
Yeah,
he had no bad intentions at all,
yeah,
and it was just, "I'm legit tired." So, I think the way to stop overthinking, which you won't fully ever, but the best ways to combat it is to assume the best
yeah,
until you have a reason to know it's the worst, and sometimes you just have to take it as they mean it. Like, "I'm tired." Okay, trust that they're just genuinely tired, and there's
yeah,
no hating. They
yeah.
won't hate you.
I mean, like, what does the Bible say? Like, take those thoughts captive. So you hear, I'm tired. Oh, they hate me. Like, what? Hold on, hold
Yeah,
on. Like, take that thought captive, and maybe they really are just tired. And so it
yeah,
is an exercise that I think you get better at with time, but it's something sometimes you kind of have to have that internal
yeah,
like battle to get there.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important.
Yeah, especially when you're starting something new. I wish I could just take my younger self and also like all my younger sisters and everybody when you're about to start college, you're about to start a new job, or you're just going into a new place like a networking event or something, and just say, nobody hates you. Like everybody wants to get to know new people. Like go in with a clear mind and just assume you're really popular. Like don't assume that anybody hates you.
Yes,
And we go into things thinking, oh, they don't like me. Like for no reason.
it's
For no
true.
reason.
My friend Ainsley talks about this. She wrote a book on the Enneagram, and
Mhm.
there are people who naturally you can assume sheep or wolf. Like you assume anyone, someone you pass by on the street
Mm.
is a nice person and you can say hi, or they're a murderer. I mean,
Yeah.
like really you can assume. And so that's so true when it comes to everything you just said, just
Yeah.
assuming the best until proven otherwise.
Okay, now
Okay.
the fear of confrontation and like what do you say when you need to confront someone?
I mean, honesty is the best policy. My husband heard from, I think, a book that we always say at our house, but clarity is kindness. So while it might seem hard, it is better to say, thank you so much for this opportunity, but I'm not able. Sometimes your no is a gift and opening the door for someone else. So I don't know, there's a lot to unpack there when it comes to like, are we saying no for an event? You know, what are we confronting? But sometimes writing down your honest things really in ChatGPT. I was doing this with my kid the
Mm.
other day because a boy she did not like asked her out. So we were for sure like looking at ChatGPT, like, because he's a nice guy. I mean, he's
Mhm.
not like,
Yeah.
yeah, but we didn't want to crush his soul, but she also
Right.
didn't want to go out with him. So yeah, how do you say that? And we kind of started there and then just kind of said, like, I really do appreciate your friendship, but I'm like not looking to date right now. Is essentially
Yeah,
what she said.
it's hard because whenever that would happen to me in like high school or whatever, you have kind of an easy out when you're in grade school because you can just say my mom won't let me. Like even if you've dated someone before, I remember using the excuse like my mom said I can't
That's a
date
good one.
again or whatever. You can blame your parents, but when you're in your 20s, you can't blame your parents anymore.
I didn't think about that.
You have to use yourself. So and
I'm gonna
I
say
mean
my
you
mom won't let
could.
me.
You're like 25 and you're like, my mom said I can't hang out with you. No.
I'm still gonna use that. What are you
Or
talking about?
yeah, so hard, I think, in your 20s because you don't have that fallback of saying your parents won't let you, but you don't wanna upset people. I think a lot of times, like, we just ghost, which can make it
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah, it's the easy, but probably not the kindest way to handle it. There's so many things. If this is a casual friendship, I mean, you're probably not gonna crush their soul if you ghost, but yeah, it's probably not the most mature way to handle it, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, clarity is kindness is the thing I keep coming back to, and so maybe say what you really want to say, not send that yet, but like, and then how to soften it or how to think about how the person on the other side of the screen or whatever maybe is
yeah.
receiving it.
Something I use a lot, I feel like just because 'cause I'm so like, a lot of times people will be like, "Do you wanna hang out? Do you wanna hang out?" Just because I have that platform on social media where I'm, like, constantly showing that I'm, like, hanging out with new
Yeah.
people. However, I realized my boundary is I can really only, like, have good one-on-one time with one new person a week. Otherwise, it just gets overwhelming, and it doesn't lead to genuine, like, good conversations just because, you can only handle so much, and, like, I'm trying to balance old friends and whatever, new friends. So something that I often use is like, am overwhelmed right now, but like I'd love to reconnect in a few months or something. And then I kind of just like let the door be cracked, I guess, because if it really is something that like maybe God wants this person in my life, like they'll follow up in a few months. I don't know if that's the best strategy, but it's just something that has helped me a little bit with rather than ghosting people. However, I still do sometimes
I
ghost
mean,
people because I just
yeah,
miss things, but yeah.
I think we all do that sometimes. I think Yeah, fear of confrontation is a thing that never really goes away, but, you also have to respect like you said, you have to have boundaries, and if you don't even know what those are, that's step 1. What is your limit, and do you like hanging out with people? Do you want to meet is it a goal of yours to meet friends in a week? One thing that really helped me is what what picture do you want to set of your life? Like, I had a come to Jesus moment, if you will.
Mhm.
A few years back, we were having, like, New Year's resolutions and stuff, and I said one of the things I want to exemplify my life is pouring into people younger than me. At the time, my husband was kind of taken aback. He was like, "Well, what in your life shows that?" He was genuinely confused because at this time I was like doing everything to help homeless people. It's a long
Mhm.
story.
Hmm.
But his point was true that like nothing in my life signified that. And so if I value pouring into those younger than me, then what the heck am I doing spending my time that? So all that to say, like when you are faced with something this opportunity, does it align with your values? Does it align with what you want to exemplify your life? That might help you kind of let your yeses be yeses and your nos be
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth to talk about confrontation in the moment, like where you weren't expecting to have a confrontation. Maybe you just get like in an argument with a friend or boyfriend or whoever. And I think something that can really help and something that helped me was saying, I need some time to think about that. Or like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have this conversation right now. I'm not upset or, saying like, it's not you. I just want to like journal through this or I want to talk through this or I need to pray about it or whatever. And like, you can pull yourself out of like a confrontation you weren't prepared for so that you don't say the wrong thing, which could lead to something worse, like overthinking the thing you said. So,
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think that's like, it's totally okay if you're in the heat of the moment just to say, like, hey, I do care about this relationship and I just need like some time to think through this before we get in an argument about it or something like that.
Yeah,
No, a
no,
lot
that's
of
good.
times you just need to sleep on it. And then you're like, hey, we don't have to have this confrontation.
Right. Yeah, because when emotions are heightened and mad, and then if you walk away and you let the steam cool,
Yeah.
then it's usually not so bad.
Yeah. And this all kind of goes into the third one, which was not wanting to disappoint people because, again, it's difficult setting boundaries without guilt. And
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of covered that with not wanting to disappoint people because it goes hand in hand with the fear of confrontation. But I would just reiterate making some boundaries, knowing what they are, and it's not really a disappointment when you're just so confident that this is what matters to me and this is what doesn't. And and then so I know for me, like I'm a people person, I'm involved in my kids' school, and so I'm always the person that the coach will think of for to do this and that. And like one time I was asked to be the treasurer of the cross country team. Lord have mercy, you do not want me. No.
yeah,
And I was like, thank you for the opportunity, but I will have the no, I'm not your best yes for this person. And so I knew clearly that that is not my strength. And so I was able to communicate that. But, it's not always so clear and dry, but knowing what you're good at and what you're not can help you communicate that
yeah.
better.
A phrase I think we all need to learn is, "I can't, but thank you for thinking of me."
There you
And
go.
that's all. But it's so hard to say that, like, even I'm just thinking this past weekend, like, someone asked me to volunteer at this thing, and I was just like, I genuinely just, like, have a conflict with lacrosse for this, but I still feel bad saying and immediately your mind goes to, like, "Maybe I can make it work. Maybe I can, like, drive immediately here, change in the car, and, like, try to get there." Just, like, sometimes you just have to say, "I can't, but thank you for thinking of me. Would love to at the next one." Or like in your situation, they asked you to do a position you didn't wanna do, like, "I can't, but thank you for thinking of me, and I will be praying for the person who does." Or, like, just, like, give something, but you have to just say no rather than, like, "I'll think about it," and then you never get back to them, because then the other person is, like, stressed. Like, it's easier to just say no upfront.
Yeah. I bet that happens a lot when you're positioned because you're kind of the face of all things, of the Chattanooga stuff. And so, yeah, I bet that happens a lot. And every store wants you to do social media and
Yeah. For
yeah.
context, people, I do like promotions for Chattanooga businesses, and it's awesome. And I'm very, very thankful for the job. It's also overwhelming. Like a lot of people want me to come out to their place for free and talk about their business.
Yeah. Because
And
she does
it's
a great
hard. You
job at
just
it.
have to say, like, I usually use, like, hey, I am slammed this month. Maybe we can reconnect in a few months and then just like leave it open. Like,
Yeah.
if they really, really wanted, they would follow up and maybe it would work out in the future or something. So,
Yeah. And we'll get into this with job stuff, but also, when that happens, don't be afraid to up your prices
mhm.
because if people, you have a service and you're valuable, even if you're young, like
This is
Charge for your services,
this
yeah.
is the perfect, segue into number 4, which is
Hey,
imposter syndrome
I
in
didn't
job
even
interviews.
look at that. I didn't even realize that was the next one.
But that is so what I'm going through currently and last year, just, like, not knowing how to advocate for yourself, because you downplay your own skills. And I know I do that because everyone tells me that I do that, but, it's a real thing. Like, I think it's something that everyone can relate to. So, yeah, I mean, this is what I'm going through right now, you guys, so I don't know how much I can speak to it. I know that people have told me, like, "Up your prices," but you feel bad. I don't know, like, I think as a generation, just feel bad, like, charging people. Or, like, if you're in a job interview, like, someone says, like, "What can you do?" Like, it feels weird bragging, I think. We just don't know how to, like, say, "I am this, and I can deliver all of these things, and I am actually amazing, and you're getting me for a steal." But you're just like,
But it's true. I mean, I get what you're saying, like, but you have a lot of value. I have a lot of feelings about this.
mhm,
I think that so for me, when it comes to speaking, I have been able to speak to a bunch of different colleges. I feel like I've filled that cup and it's great. And I'm thankful when I'm booked, but I'm not knocking down doors and begging people to come,
mhm.
have me come speak at their school. So if they reach out and they think that I would add value to their chapter, I'm thankful for that opportunity. But I'm also like, not gonna do it for 50 cents. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta leave my house and my family and stand in line at TSA and all that kind of stuff. So all of that is time, and your time is valuable. I mean, I think that what you're doing, I mean, I think you know this, but what you do is very valuable and like you're good at it, you
thank
know?
you.
And so I think that especially if you're booked and you're like overwhelmed, up those
Yeah,
prices.
yeah, and relating this to people who are in corporate jobs too, like, something that I need to get better at doing, but I know this is very helpful, like a good tip, is, like, answer with truth and examples,
Yeah.
like, say, "This is what I did at my last job," or, like, "Here is some, like, numbers, like, I sold out all this ice cream," or, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, if you can have any kind of stats, that will also help you feel more confident in pushing for a higher salary if you're at a meeting with your boss and it's time for your annual review and you want like a $5,000 raise, but you don't know how to ask for it. Like, come with numbers, come with proof of like what you've done. I think anyone, if you're at a job, anytime you do something good, like have a notes app and write it down with a date, or and you can put it in a Google sheet or something. I did that at my job when I worked at like in the corporate world, I guess, for 2.5 years. Like anytime you have something good, like write it down. So when you have a salary negotiation, you can bring those hard numbers to the table.
I think that's good. My whole life I've been on commission, so meaning like I don't get paid unless I do my job or get sales or whatever. And I really like that though because I can get a raise if I work harder
Yeah.
and I can take time off, won't get paid as much, but all that to say, like, I think that it's good mentality to think about.
Hmm.
If you are adding value to the organization, then you should get paid more. However, let me say the opposite of that because Gen Z has a bad rap of like, pay me more, pay me more. And, sometimes, this is probably more, well, yeah, I guess some of the younger Gen Z. Anyways, you hear older people saying that they can't get people to work and show up for work and they all want to get paid more and more in the minimum wage and yada, yada, yada. So I hear from business owners too the struggle. And so yes, I 100% stand that you should get paid for your work, but you have to think about the business owner's perspective too. Are you for sure pulling your weight? Are you adding to the company? Are you
Yeah.
adding to the bottom line? So, because it all works together, right? Like we can't expect to be paid more if we're not adding more to the company, adding more,
Right.
whatever it may be. So,
That's why it's good to have those hard numbers. Like, if you and you know you deserve more, then, like, be like, "I came in, I have never been late. I have always hit all of these quotas that were asked of me. Anytime I was falling behind, I brought it to the table rather than keeping it to myself, like, I asked for help, blah, blah, blah." Whereas if you don't have any hard numbers or hard, like, proof to show why you should get money, then you're probably getting paid exactly what you need to get paid
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. So if you wanna be paid more, just have those, like, examples ready to go.
Yeah, and then I do think, as we said, just knowing your value as an employee, looking around, are you outstanding in your job? And I'm hopefully, you are. And so those are just things to think about when it comes to the
Yeah,
job syndromes.
right.
And when it comes to interviews too, though, we kind of talked about if you already have a job, but when you have an interview, I was talking to this about my daughter's like, well, I don't want to brag. This is the time to
Yeah.
brag.
Yes.
This is the time to talk about all of the things you have done well. And even never promote lying. When you have some people say, "Oh, well, I don't know if I talk about this achievement." Talk about that achievement, even if you say it doesn't matter that much in there are things that you can highlight more than you might think that they're needed. Am I making sense? Like, "Oh, this isn't a big deal." Yes, it is. It's a big deal, put on your
Yeah.
resume.
What I bring to the table is not arrogance. It's what you
Right.
bring to the table. Just
Right.
be honest
Yeah.
about your skills. Everyone has different skills. So,
Yes. Yes. So brag on yourself, especially in interviews and resumes.
yeah. And you can ask salary questions in interviews. Like, they're prepared for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay. Number 5 is confusing honesty with harshness. So, when you want to be honest, but you don't know how to say things with kindness and clarity.
Do it anyways. I don't know. I'll come back to kindness. Clarity is kindness. I mean, I go back to typing what you really want to say in a chat GPT and seeing if you can get some ways to put it in however you want to say it, however you want to phrase that. But I don't think I don't know. I don't think if people communicate and hear your boundaries as harsh, then that's on them.
I think just being clear and kind is like a confident communication. What Katie's saying with the ChatGPT thing, I actually think of an example literally just last week for me. I have a good friend. I want to stay friends with them. They have a business. And when you need a service from that business, obviously you first want to ask your friend before asking some random. In my case, it was building a fence. We really want a fence in our backyard. So I had him come out and quote it. Uh, and it was way more expensive than what we were prepared for. And so we just decided we don't need a fence because this is just out of our budget at the time. However, I was like freaking out to Cameron. I was like, I do not want him to think that he hates me. Like, I want to stay friends with this person. How do we say no without being? I was like, should we just pay $8,000 for a fence? Like, even though we were prepared for 4,000 was our budget
Wow.
for the fence. It was double.
Yeah.
So I was like, should we just and we're like, no, like we just need to say no. So it's just like what I put into ChatGPT, I literally was like, I was like, this is my friend. I want to keep the relationship, like blah, 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 blah. This is the situation. And like ChatGPT gave me some good, just like obviously we are not promoting just like all AI things or
Sure.
whatever, but it helps you organize your thoughts. You can say, like, I want to say this with a friendly tone. I want to blah, blah, blah. And it can help you. Again, this is also something you can do without ChatGPT,
Sure.
obviously. But it does help you kind of like organize your thoughts. Like I just brain dumped in there and then it helps you like get out some like good talking points or whatever. But I will always say, if you're ever sent a message that ChatGPT gave you, read through it and make it more personal.
Yes.
Take out the M dashes. Like it's so obvious. I remember back in my old job before I was a social media content creator, I remember my boss literally coming to me and being like, you can't have that many exclamation points in your emails. And I would write my email like genuinely how I would write it, but then have to go back and delete exclamation points and put periods in because it was more professional. And I remember thinking whoever I send this to is like going to think I don't like them, but it's literally just how tone is. Like you can't read into the tone of like periods do not equal mean, but so yeah, don't overread the tone. Different generations just have different tones.
Yes. It's all good. So the last two were kind of similar, and honestly, we have so much to say about it. We might have to
And
another
we're running out of time.
episode. I know.
So I think we are going to do the whole next episode on not knowing how to ask for what they need. Title it like how to ask for what you need in a relationship and dive into. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah.
A big one, obviously, for at least what I went through, what Katie has a lot to say about is like how to talk to your partner about like big things like waiting for marriage or
Yeah.
like what you need in your relationship, things like that. That could be 5 million episodes, but we'll make it the next one.
Yes, we'll make it just one, but it's going to be a good one. And talking about boundaries as it relates to relationships in so many different ways, there's a lot to unpack. So we hope that you join us next time. Make sure you follow, make sure you share with a friend, make sure you give us feedback if you're liking it, if you want to hear more or less about something. We want to hear from you. So make sure you check us out, give us a follow, and thanks for being here. Thanks for letting us give you some truths for your 20s.
Yes, we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.